This is the story of Shigeru Yoshida, and yet he's ugly, like really ugly. Next to him, Steven Tyler looks like a K-pop idol, but despite his face being a public safety hazard, Yoshida managed to get by. He landed a job in sales, and even though his looks could cause eye strain, his charisma was off the charts. Sure, women wouldn't even say thanks when he held the door open, but Yoshida didn't care about that stuff. Until that day, he was coming back from shopping when, on the subway, a girl suddenly screamed that he groped her. Yoshida, holding 2 heavy bags of instant noodles and discount shampoo, was like, "Lady, seriously? I've got both hands full. What am I gonna grope you with, my mind?" But fate wasn't on his side. As he tried to back away, he tripped and all his groceries spilled out, revealing a glorious mess of junk food, adult diapers, they were on sale, and a suspicious amount of canned mackerel. So now he wasn't just ugly, he was ugly and gross. People didn't even question it, they just believed the girl. The cops fined him 300 million yen. Yeah, that's like sell your soul and your kidneys money, but instead of fighting it, Yoshida pled guilty. He figured it was better to pay up and move on than to spend years proving he wasn't a creep, only to still be known as that nasty dude from the train. What he didn't expect was that no one wanted to be around him anymore. He got fired, ghosted, cancelled harder than a Netflix anime after 1 season. Years later, the girl was arrested. Turns out she had a hobby, falsely accusing ugly guys. But since she was a minor, she got a slap on the wrist and walked free. Yoshida's name? Still Mud. That broke him. He didn't feel like he belonged in this world anymore. And what do you do when you feel like the world hates you? That's right. You become a League of Legends player. He locked himself in his room, lived off his savings and the allowance his parents still gave him, blessed them, and spent his days doom-scrolling Reddit, reading conspiracy theories and I got Isekai'D creepypasta. One day he found a weird post. It claimed there was a way to travel to another world, but it warned, don't mess up your stat allocation at the start or you'll regret it. Yoshida thought it was just fanfic nonsense. Still, the idea of a new world, a new life, it was tempting, so he tried it. The post said, leave your computer open behind you, stand at your window with your hands in the air, do it at exactly midnight. And so, like a true weeb summoning his destiny, Yoshida prepared to yeet himself into another world. And get this, it actually worked. His computer flashed a confirmation message. Yoshida thought, great, I just downloaded a virus from Reddit. But since he had nothing better to do and zero social life, he clicked accept just to see what would happen. Suddenly, a character creation screen popped up. It showed his name, gender, male, and age, 16. The only thing he could change was his appearance. And for some reason, only the gods of bad decisions understand. He cranked his appearance stat down to negative 255. Immediately, a new screen appeared, stat distribution. And holy XP, his available points skyrocketed. Apparently, the uglier you are, the more points you get. Take notes, min-maxers. He also got to choose special traits. And this dude, he went full masochist. He gave himself negative traits like only earning a tiny percentage of any money he finds, losing HP every second he touches a girl. And worst of all, if he ever consummates a relationship, if you catch my drift, he'll instantly go bankrupt and die permanently. But hey, silver lining. He gave himself a passive that earns him absurd amounts of XP for doing basically nothing. He dumped 100 billion points into his skills, hit confirm, and poof, vanished from the world. He woke up in a weird cabin. And now, he wasn't just ugly, he was ugly and fat. That's what negative 255 appearance looks like, folks. In the room were 3 others. A pretty boy, 2 waifus, and of course the waifus were in their underwear, because anime logic. It was cold, so the pretty boy gave his shirt to one of the girls. Yoshida tried to do the same, offering his shirt to the other waifu. She looked at him and said, nah, I'll take the cold. The pretty boy introduced himself as Seiji, age 16. The blonde waifu also said she was 16 but didn't give her name. The other girl was named Seika. Apparently everyone defaults to 16 in this world. Thanks, Isekai algorithm. Yoshida introduced himself too, claiming to be 16. But with his size and receding hairline, he looked more like someone's divorced uncle who sells NFTs. They all admitted they'd done the same computer ritual to get here. No one freaked out, no questions, just, oh cool, new world, let's vibe. Yoshida wasn't here to make friends. He planned to solo this life like he did the last one. So he started rummaging through drawers and found a gold coin. But the second he touched it, poof, it vanished. Thanks to his dumb trait that nerfs his income, the group explored the cabin. It had basic supplies for 4 people. Except, there were only 7 gold coins. Almost like one had mysteriously disappeared. Yoshida played it cool. He told them to split the coins among themselves. He didn't need money, but in exchange he asked for the axe. The others weren't thrilled about that deal. Seiji told him that if he tried to solo again, he'd just fail like in his old life. Oof, projection much. But then Seiji said he wanted to do things right this time and was willing to work as a team. Everyone agreed. They split the weapons using rock, paper, scissors. Yoshida lost, so he ended up with a stick, like a literal caveman stick. Captain Caveman would be proud. The squad decided to head to the nearest town, but the moment they opened the cabin door, BAM! A goblin jumped them like it was camping spawn points. Seiji didn't hesitate. He went full berserker and split the goblin in half with his axe. But then, more goblins showed up. Like a lot more. Seiji and the blonde waifu charged in like a shonen tag team. Yoshida? He stood in the back like a concerned NPC. Seika was supposed to help with her but she couldn't even tie the string. Then, whack! A goblin smacked Yoshida right on the butt with a stick. Yoshida figured, time to show off my broken stats. He swung his caveman stick at the goblin's head. Nothing. The goblin didn't even flinch. Then it hit him. He forgot to assign his skill points. He dumped everything into special traits and left his stats at 0. Well, time to go old school. He gripped his stick and smacked the goblin with everything he had. Crack! The goblin went down. Suddenly, a screen popped up. Level up. Thanks to his busted XP multiplier, he gained a ridiculous number of levels. His teammates leveled up too and started distributing their points. Yoshida watched how they did it, then casually opened his own menu and dumped his billions of points across every stat. The system glitched. His status changed to absolute. He was now a literal god. Another goblin ran up and started whacking him. Yoshida didn't even blink. He flicked the goblin with one finger. Team Rocket Star launched into the sky. Meanwhile, Seiji and the blonde were still fighting and Seika was still losing to her own bow. She started crying, frustrated and embarrassed. Yoshida saw her struggling. He knew she was too proud to ask for help. So he faked it. He clutched his hands and said, "Oh no, I've been cursed with the Kantai-bow syndrome. Please let me try before it's too late." Seika, moved by his struggle, handed him the bow. Lucky for her, Yoshida had spent years watching random YouTube tutorials while living off his parents. One of them, how to tie a bowstring. He activated his god-tier dexterity. Pim pam done. Seika was impressed. "Were you on the archery team or something?" She handed him the first shot. Yoshida tried to decline but she insisted. He had to be careful. Touching girls drained his HP. He checked his skill list and picked the one with the coolest name. He fired. The arrow flew straight into the sky. Everyone thought he missed. But then, a portal opened in the clouds and out came a dragon. Not Shenron granting wishes. This one was here to obliterate goblins. Seika stared stunned. "What was that?" Yoshida handed back the bow. "Just a little trick I picked up in archery club. But goblins are like herpes. Just when you think they're gone, more show up." Seika was finally ready. She fired arrows like she was in a gacha banner event. Somehow she missed every single one. She checked her skills and found one that let her turn anything she touched into arrows. "Convenient," Yoshida whispered behind her. "Ha! Hey, look! I think there are some arrows right there." Seika lit up and started firing again, this time with actual results. The team wiped out the goblins and finally continued toward the city. By afternoon, they arrived. They hadn't eaten all day, so naturally they hit up the local burger stand. Because sure, it's a medieval fantasy world, but even here there's a McDonald's. Everyone rushed in excited, except Yoshida. He liked them sure, but he was still in solo mode. He wandered to a fountain, stomach growling. He saw a cat and briefly wondered if it was edible. Petable. Definitely petable. But then he remembered, if it's a girl cat touching it could kill him. Suddenly, boo! Seika appeared behind him. Yoshida freaked and fell into the fountain. She held out a burger almost as big as her head, a thank you gift for helping with the bow. He tried to refuse, but his stomach betrayed him with a loud growl. Seika insisted. "You're broke, right? If you don't eat now, what are you gonna eat?" He accepted, but when he grabbed the burger, his finger brushed hers. Zap! He lost a huge chunk of HP. Seika looked hurt. She thought he was rejecting her food. Yoshida panicked. He apologized and said, "You're so pretty I got nervous. I'll eat it off the ground to prove I'm grateful." He tapped into his old salesman charm. He was rusty but determined to win her over like he did with clients back in the day. Seika stopped him. "Don't eat off the ground, dummy." She gave him the rest of her lunch. She said it was no big deal. She had money, and she knew he was the one who gave her those arrows. Yoshida was touched. She was the same girl who looked at him like a walking disease that morning. Now, he kinda liked her, so he decided maybe he'd stick with the group a little longer. If you made it this far into the video and want me to keep recapping this hilarious anime, drop a comment with the word bunny girl. Thanks a ton for watching. Seika heads straight to the armory and finally stocks up on a ridiculous amount of arrows. Shigeru thinks it's a total waste, obviously, since this dude can summon arrows from literally anywhere. Yes, even there. She notices Shigeru didn't buy a single thing and assumes it's because he's broke. Probably gave away all his cash again. Their friends show up and say they found a place to stay. Shigeru shrugs and says he'd rather crash on the sidewalk like a low-level NPC. Seika's like, "No worries, I'll cover your bed." Shigeru tries to decline, but Seika pulls the old Puss in Boots eyes move and he folds instantly. She grabs his arm and drags him off. Lucky for him, that dumb skill that makes him immune to female contact doesn't trigger if it's over close. They reach their tiny room at the inn. Seiji gets to crunching numbers while the girls hop into the bath. Shigeru starts panicking about how to make money. Thanks to his absolutely cursed skill that limits him to just 0.01% of his actual wealth. If he doesn't figure out a workaround soon, he'll need to find a new world to escape from this one. Next morning, he shows up with breakfast for everyone. They're like, where'd all this food come from? He says someone handed it over while he was pretending to be a homeless guy. Seika's like, dude, you don't have to do that. If you need something, I'll buy it. We've got loads of cash now. But the truth? No one gave it to him and he didn't buy it either. He cracked the system exploit traits. He used his arrow summoning skill to create a ton of them, traded them at the armory for food, and didn't even care that the deal was totally uneven. After breakfast, they planned the day. They need more money, and the monsters weren't dropping loot. So Shigeru suggests checking out a cave nearby. Just as they decide, some guy interrupts and says he overheard their plan to explore the Arga cave and offers to be their guide. Turns out he's a fellow reincarnated and offers them these patch-looking things. He says they're like discount coupons you're supposed to find in the spawn cabin. Sika says they didn't find any, but he generously gives them some and says to ask for their discount at the front desk. Sika's like, thanks, without a second thought. But Seiji's got his guard up, asking who this dude really is. He introduces himself as Kyoshiro, a rookie guide, and promises they'll find better loot in the cave with his help. Shigeru also senses something sketchy, but hey, he's basically broken tier. He leaves the choice up to Seiji. Seiji sees it as a solid XP and cash investment, so he agrees and negotiates a killer deal. Kyoshiro hands them helmets with built-in lights and leads them to the cave. On the way, goblins attack. Seika goes full rapid-fire mode with her arrows, still missing every shot. Kyoshiro tells her not to waste arrows and Sika responds, no biggie, I bought like 1,000 dozen. He clarifies that it's her aim that needs work, not her arrow stash. So Sika focuses and finally nails one. So far, Kyoshiro's legit, giving good tips and those cool helmets made by another reincarnated dude. Sika even bought torches for the trip, which now serve absolutely no purpose. Later, Kyoshiro helps everyone train. Well, everyone except Shigeru, who just sits and watches. Kyoshiro says Shigeru's way over the training level cap. And honestly, he's not wrong. One punch from Shigeru could uninstall the game for any of them. Kyoshiro gets it. Leveling up with just a staff is a pain, but he reassures Shigeru that his ultimate skill is crazy OP. Or so the rumors say, not that Shigeru needs reminding. That morning, while crafting arrows, he ran into an ogre and decided to test his ultimate just to see what it could do. A warning popped up. The attack has a blast radius of 200 kilometers. If he triggered it, he'd wipe out about 1.5 million people. Yep, if he used it back in Japan, it would basically flatten the map. Kyoshiro warns him to keep fighting and gaining experience or he'll end up retired like him. He opens up, says that when he first arrived, he joined a squad of mercenaries but couldn't keep up. Now he's just a guide while his old team leader became a king. Dude's level 80 and his stats? Triple digits. Intense. They finally reach the cave. Seika's visibly freaked out, totally baby mode. Seiji picks up on it and casually asks her age, pretending it's for strategic planning. To build trust, he shares that he's 30 IRL. Seika hesitates, then admits it. She's not 16, she's 17. After some bat swatting and a long hike, they arrive at the boss door. Seika's hyped, but Kyoshiro quickly brings her back to reality. You're level 3. The boss could use you as ointment for his varicose veins. He suggests ending the expedition early, but offers to take them to a special event first. He leads them to a meeting room where sodas and chips are laid out, a welcome party for newly reincarnated adventurers. Shigeru activates his detection skill and notices something shady smeared on the snacks. It could be poison or a sleeping agent. Thankfully, his high stats make him immune, and Seiji turns down the offer and suggests heading home. Kyoshiro respects the choice and doesn't push. That earns Seiji's trust. He apologizes for doubting him and with teary eyes accepts the drinks. They start snacking and Shigeru asks the classic isekai question. What did you all do before coming here? A loaded one. Everyone came to this world trying to escape something. Only Seiji decides to open up. He was a terrible student, ditched school and ran away from home. He eventually founded a company called Success Life. Shigeru perks up, he knows that name, he used to do business with them, and come to think of it, Seiji really looks like the boss. Seiji continues, one day a salesman showed up, insanely ugly, so in his story he calls him the ugly guy. This dude tried to sell him a ridiculously overpriced photocopier. Shigeru realizes immediately he was that salesman. Seiji says he tried to negotiate, but the ugly guy swore he wouldn't regret it. The contract literally said, I promise I'll make you smile and never let you down. Was he selling office gear or proposing marriage? He even told Seiji that as a CEO, he should enjoy life more and go out exploring the world. Seiji loved that energy. handed the company over to his team and went off to live life. Turns out things weren't all bad for Seiji. His company kept growing and even got listed on the stock market. Shigeru didn't see any of that though. His life was already a train wreck by then. Not long after, Seiji ran the company into the ground thanks to a catastrophe involving the AI system they were developing. A bunch of his employees were affected and it wrecked his mental health. That's why when he arrived in this world, he swore he'd never disappoint anyone again. After spilling his story, Seiji casually drops that the ugly salesman was named Shigeru. He asks this Shigeru for his full name, but of course, Shigeru gives him a fake one to avoid drama. Then, boom, lights out. Everyone falls unconscious and the bad guys roll in to do their villainy routine. They cuff Shigeru, who's just pretending to be knocked out, waiting for the right moment to strike, but Seiji stumbles to his feet, still groggy, refusing to let his friends get hurt, which kinda throws off Shigeru's plan since he can't unleash full force without risking Seiji. Seiji tries to hit Kyoshiro with the classic "I used to be just like you" anime speech. Basically, most reincarnated folks come here trying to escape a crappy life and Kyoshiro greets them with another one. Not cool. Kyoshiro fires back, says this world's just a garbage dump for failures and just like the old one, the dumbest guy always pays the price. Seiji doesn't back down and declares no one's gonna mess with his squad. Kyoshiro snaps his fingers and sends his goons after him. Time to act. Shigeru launches into the air like a chunky humpback whale, using pure body weight to brawl. He's holding back his actual strength to avoid hurting Seiji. He tells Seiji to leave it to him, but Seiji won't let him fight solo. Noble, but kinda pointless. Shigeru's bouncing around the room like a wrecking ball in soft mode, making it impossible for the thugs to land a hit. Kyoshiro shouts, "Kati! Take down the bowling ball first!" But Seiji insists he can end this with one punch. They all gang up on the big guy, but it's like punching Play-Doh. Kyoshiro threatens to kill the chubby one if Seiji doesn't surrender, but Shigeru smothers him with his butt. Kyoshiro retaliates with a double nostril jab. Seiji starts charging his fist, glowing with ridiculously epic energy, and gives the villains one last chance to surrender. Turns out Seiji selected a special trait. "I'll never betray my teammates, or I die." Yeah, that plus some bonus stats unlock this insane power. It triggers when his rage hits critical levels, and when it maxes out, boom, he turns red. Before that happens, he warns them to back off. Kyoshiro shrugs it off and says they just need to dodge the right hook. He tries to strike, but Shigeru jumps in as his shield while the fist charges, and then things get weird. I thought Seiji would deliver one giant anime punch, but nope. He releases all his power at once, his clothes tear off, he gets super ripped, his hair spikes up, wings burst out of his back. I have officially seen everything this world has to offer, and to top it all off, he changes his name to Aldin. And that's a wrap on this chaotic anime recap, full of missed arrows, atomic slaps, and transformations so wild they broke the lore. If you made it this far, you officially have Dungeon Boss level endurance. Drop a secret word in the comments to prove it, something like Aldinated, Shigerubot, or just Lethal Photocopier. Whatever moment hit you hardest, hit that like button, subscribe if you want more narrated madness, and remember, in the wise words of Seiji, never betray your squad, or you literally explode. See you in the next video. Aldin charges his flaming punch and looks ready to blast Kyoshiro into another dimension. But psych, it's just a scare tactic. Everyone's left hanging, waiting for impact. They ask what happened. Aldin explains that he's not here to judge. That's for the king, or for our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He says that while it's easier to defeat them now, smacking them around won't make them reflect or repent. His actual plan, send them to a chapel to confess to the priest and make peace with the big guy upstairs. Kyoshiro gets the memo and drops his weapon, kneeling in surrender. Aldin turns his back, rookie mistake. Kyoshiro immediately grabs his sword and lunges, but Shigeru was ready. He fake trips, taking Kyoshiro down face first. The gang jumps in, starts kicking the guy, but it's useless, like fighting memory foam. Shigeru warns everyone that Aldin's allies have arrived. Then he casually flicks a booger at the back wall, causing a massive explosion. In the chaos, Shigeru props Aldin up to make it look like he caused the blast. Even Aldin's like, "Wait, did I just do that?" And Shigeru's like, "Yep, for real." Cross my heart. Some bandits still don't buy it, so Shigeru spins a divine story. He saw giant white eagles descend from the heavens, saving Aldin like a holy miracle. The bandits are shook. Full repentance mode activated. They beg for forgiveness. Shigeru lines them up and tells Aldin to slap them, to let them feel a taste of the pain they caused. The catch: Aldine's special power only hurts bad guys. If they've truly repented, they've got nothing to fear. But Seiji goes back to his regular boring self, refusing to use holy power like that, so he just gives them regular slaps. The bandits say thanks and look genuinely sorry. Shigeru chains them up while Seiji escorts the girls, but then Aldine collapses, drugged from earlier. The bandits think it's their chance and offer Shigeru a deal. Gambling ladies the works. Shigeru flexes, shattering the chains effortlessly, and warns them Aldine is stronger than he is. That freaks them out even more, though not enough to stop them from hurling one last insult at the chubby guy. Later, the party gathers to split the reward they earned. A solid 100,000 lira. That's roughly 10 million yen. Seiji wants to divide it equally, but the girls say it's unfair since they didn't really contribute. Seiji insists on splitting because his poor judgment put them at risk by trusting Kyoshiro. The girls reassure him that he still beat the bad guys. Then they ask Shigeru what exactly he did in battle. Seiji vouches for him, says Shigeru was the bravest, even acting as his human shield. Good thing he has a gazillion defense points and fell nothing. Seika declares him MVP and gives him a share of the loot. Unfortunately, thanks to his cursed ability, Shigeru can't hold money or it vanishes. He also plans to repay Seika and leave the group. Says he's too impulsive with cash and trusts them to manage it. Seiji distributes the money and tells everyone to buy gear for the journey, including Shigeru, but he refuses again. Seika steps in, offering to hold his money and buy whatever he wants. Seiji throws shade. Didn't you already burn through a ton of cash on arrows you missed every shot with? Seika feels guilty, but Shigeru sympathizes and hands her 25,000 lira, just enough for a night and a meal. After everything, they head out for food. Seika buys Shigeru an absolute unit of a hamburger. She knows he can survive solo thanks to his skills and figures this'll be her last meal with him before he dips. Seika returns with the food and demands a thank you, in her signature weird way where she basically answers herself. Shigeru notices she's not nearly as rude as when they first met. She's actually kind of sweet. Also, turns out this is her first burger ever. Either she was a hardcore vegetarian or her past life was more shut-in than he realized. As she munches, Seika casually asks about his stats. He plays it off like they're pretty okay. She says it's a shame he didn't notice the trick during character creation. If you lower your appearance score, you get more bonus points. Shigeru realizes she spotted the same exploit, but she doesn't look like she used it. She's full on waifu tier. Then she drops the truth bomb. She set her appearance stat to -16. Shigeru's like, how? And she shows him her note. I want to be pretty. Then she gently caresses her hands. That hits Shigeru hard. That's next level. He regrets not doing it himself. He could have walked in looking like Brad Pitt. Suddenly, Seika spots a cat nearby and is mesmerized. It's the first time she's seen one up close. Shigeru says, go on, pet it. Seika realizes she can. She can walk. She gets up and heads toward it but trips. Shigeru throws himself like a human mattress, but she lands fine. He plays it cool. I was just going to the bathroom. In the bathroom, Shigeru breaks down. He remembers how she stroked her hands, how she forgot she could walk. That means her previous life came with a physical limitation. And at just 17, she'd barely had a chance to live. He hopes the god of this world gives her peace. Then remembers he is that god. Seika knocks and asks if he's okay. Is your tummy hurting? She says like a 5-year-old. Shigeru wipes his tears and says he'll be out in a sec. He reflects. Her innocence, her lack of real-world experience, those might work against her here, in a world that's just as cruel. But with his divine status, he'll do everything he can to help her live her new life to the fullest. Later, they regroup. Seiji suggests everyone pick a class so they can buy proper gear and boost the right stats, diversify the squad a bit. Seiji picks hero, recommends Seika be a mage, and suggests Shigeru be an epic fighter. Seika wants heroine, but Seiji already called dibs. Shigeru offers to swap roles, but she's not into that. Final lineup: Seiji's a hero, Shigeru's a fighter, Seika's a mage, and the blonde's a hunter. Seiji goes all out shopping, looking the part of a fantasy protagonist. Seika's hyped too, promises Shigeru she'll be an amazing mage. She spent a while lobbying to be the heroine, but the team eventually talked her down. They agree the next destination is Valeria, the largest city in the region. But before that, a rule is set. Nobody spends more than 3 lira. Time to save up. They'll leave in the morning. Seika takes the opportunity to bond with the blonde, potentially her first real friend, so it's kind of huge. She invites her to the park to jump rope. Yeah, random, but there's a reason. The blonde admits she doesn't know how. Seika says she'll teach her. She's practiced. She heads off to change her dress cause jumping in that thing would be tragic. Then it's off to the park. And the crew heads out for gear. At the armory, Seika's eyes instantly lock onto the most overpowered, terrifying weapon in sight. Yeah, of course. But Shigeru steps in. That's a fighter weapon, and you're not going for that class, remember? Then she spots some nunchucks. Kung Fu only. Still, she asks for them. Before she wastes her money on something she can't wield, Shigeru points at the item next to it and tells the blacksmith, actually she meant this one. It's a jump rope. Apparently they sell it as a basic kung fu weapon. Not exactly wrong. Pretty sure Jackie Chan could knock someone out with it. Seika is hyped. She walks away with her new weapon like it's legendary gear. Shigeru takes her to the park and shows her how to use it, jumping with unexpected agility despite his marshmallow build. Seika is impressed. She picks it up super fast. Now she's excited to teach the blonde girl, whose name they still don't know. That's why she invited her to jump rope. Shigeru spies from nearby to make sure everything goes smoothly. Seika demonstrates, and the blonde nails it on her first try. She says her long hair gets in the way and considers cutting it. Seika says it's a good idea, but also kinda sad. She loves her curls. Then Seika decides it's the right moment. She asks for her name. The blonde freezes, clearly dodging that topic hard. Seika tells her that she and Shigeru came up with a nickname in case she doesn't want to share her real name, Rizu-sumo, inspired by the breeze and her bouncy curls. The blonde gives her the dang, that's cinematic look, but says nothing. She just starts jumping rope again, then busts out a flip that stuns everyone around. Shigeru remembers how agile she was during the first fight. Physically gifted, no doubt. Soon she's swarmed, adventuring groups trying to recruit her. Seika feels left out, ignored. She starts crying. That's when Shigeru emerges from the bushes, terrifying everyone. Some shout, "Oh crap, it's Shrek! Call the cops, he's gonna eat the crybaby." Rizu apologizes, saying she just wanted to impress Seika. Shigeru says all she had to do was answer the question. Ghosting someone is rude, he says flatly. The blonde runs off, overwhelmed with guilt. Back at the inn, they find a letter in Seika's room. She says she's sorry, she loves the nickname and would love to be her friend, and she signs it, Rizu. We got a name? Seika runs off to find her. Shigeru's the only one who noticed where she went. He asked her to come out and talk. She asked to speak in private. He agrees, joking. Just don't hit me with a fake harassment report later. They head to her room. Rizu apologizes again, then asks him point blank, "Are you the Shigeru, the one from Seiji's story?" Shigeru asks, "Why do you think my name is Yoshida?" Rizu replies, "It's part of my special skills. I can see everyone's stats and info. So yeah, I'm the only one who knows you're totally broken. Zero money, and if a girl gives you cuddles, you literally die." Rizu then asks if he's noticed Seika's situation. Shigeru says he has, and Rizu confesses she's partly responsible for Seika's condition. That's why she came to this world, to atone for her sins. Shigeru goes, "Spill the tea already." And Rizu explains she used to work on a special program where she met Seika. She just wanted to make everyone happy, but the program glitched and caused an accident. She couldn't stop it, and now she feels guilty for Seika's injuries. The accident, a mess of miscommunication and emotional chaos. Translation: it was a full-blown tantrum with tragic consequences. That's why Rizu added a special note to her character sheet. She wants to understand people better, hence her stat reading powers. The program was some kind of AI thing, yep, the same one that doomed Seiji, who by the way is her brother. Shigeru asks how she didn't recognize him, and she says he looks totally different in this world. Rizu says her brother told her about this sketchy salesman named Yoshika, the one with the cheesy slogan, "I'll make you smile." She thought he could help her spread happiness, so it's super convenient she found him here. Shigeru briefly wonders if she's lying, but she says she literally can't. It's part of her attributes and her past life curse. She asks if, with his god-tier powers, he wants to help Seika and Seiji find happiness. She invites him to join her in guiding them through this world. Shigeru says they're good kids, kinda clueless, but they deserve a decent life, so he agrees to team up with her. Rizu cuts her hair because she's closing emotional arcs and following Seika's advice. Next day they gear up for the journey. On the road they run into giant bugs. Seika flexes her mage powers and freezes a few. Seiji slices one clean with his sword. Rizu snipes a couple with arrows. Boom. Team synergy unlocked. They decide to camp and find a hollow tree that's suspiciously perfect. They're heading to Valeria through the forest to shave off 2 days of travel. Downside, bugs, bad food, and 0 comfy beds. But Seika insisted. Seika is hyped like it's summer camp or something. Time to split tasks. Seiji asks if she wants to build a fire or go fishing. Seika picks fishing and heads to the river with Shigeru. While waiting for a bite, she says she doesn't want to be a crybaby anymore. That time she cried while jumping rope, that was her final teardrop. She doesn't want pity and admits she sometimes cries without knowing why, not always out of sadness. Shigeru tells her crying's good. It's not just sadness, it's your heart reacting. And people who stop crying stop growing stronger. He says if you don't know why you're crying, ask your heart what moved it. Hansika, bro, are you secretly a poet? cute tears. Again. Rizu shows up to check on dinner, but the fish aren't biting. She's like, hold my arrows, and starts sniping fish like it's an FPS. Way faster than rods. She hands the fish to Seika to take back to camp. Then, alone with Shigeru, she says she always smiles when she's with him, and now she sees her brother was right about him. Shigeru says they should head back for dinner, but before that, Rizu thanks him for not spilling her secret. She says she'll tell the others when the timing feels right. Back at camp, Seiji is grilling fish like a pro, and Seika is cooking up some seriously elite rice. They all sit down to eat, and Shigeru asks Seiji what the goal of their anime is. He's like, usually in Isekai you gotta do something. Slay the demon king, save a kingdom, rescue a waifu. So what's our squad's mission? Seiji shrugs. Honestly, no clue. For now, we're heading to Valeria, gathering intel and seeing if there's anything worth doing in this world. Shigeru likes that plan. He thinks Seiji is a natural leader, the kind who procrastinates like a champ. Suddenly, a noise in the forest. Enter a hot mess of a redhead, literally. She's sexy, missing a hand, and totally wrecked. Turns out she was being chased by some dudes, all because of the wild attribute she chose. Flashback, her ex dumped her for a prettier girl, and everyone mocked her for not being hot enough. So she swore vengeance on every beautiful woman alive. Yep, that's her whole villain arc. She wakes up in the protagonist's camp, arm bleeding. Seika used healing magic to stop the bleeding, but she's still in rough shape. Even after hearing Seika helped her, she's cold and ignores her. Seika feels bad, but realizes not everyone's gonna be nice, and you can't win people over instantly. Turns out after she passed out, Seiji asks Shigeru to fetch water. Rizu hands him a bucket and casually mentions the girl's special attribute. Beautiful women will pay. I'll take them all down, swear on my life. So yeah, she's planning to stab Seika the moment she gets the chance. Seiji asks her name. She introduces herself as Rhea and accepts a bowl of rice. Seika hands it over and offers to hold the bowl for her since, you know, she's missing a hand. She's either super sweet or dangerously naive. If Rizu hadn't swiped the dagger, Seika would have been skewered already. That's why Shigeru and Rizu are on high alert in case this girl tries anything shady. Seiji asks how she got so messed up. Rhea says her group was attacked. They got separated and she barely escaped. Shigeru calls BS. Honestly, same. Seiji says they're heading to Valeria and offers to let her tag along. They'll protect her. Rhea still isn't sure if they're trustworthy. Yes, even after they fed her and healed her wounds. Seika says Seiji swore never to betray anyone, so he's solid. Rhea's phantom arm still hurts. Shigeru stays sharp. He's holding a spoon, but in the right hands, that's a weapon. After this, he plans to teach Seika the art of stranger danger. Rhea asks Seika to take her to some water. Seiji offers to go, but Rhea warns she's taking a bath. Seika turns to Seiji and goes, wait, are you one of those guys who act all wholesome but are secretly total pervs? Shigeru realizes his bro's getting roasted and steps in to defend him, but Rhea turns to him and goes, now you look like a total creep. And boom, he's just as roasted as Seiji. Rizu offers to go with Rhea, radiating that touch my friend and I'll rip off your remaining arm energy. Rhea insists Seika join her for the bath, and poor Seika, being the sweet summer child she is, agrees and even gives Rhea her dagger back. You know, just in case, Shigeru can't stop her without looking like the bad guy. Rizu decides to tail them in stealth mode. Shigeru wants to do the same, but Seiji stops him. Shigeru warns her it's dangerous. Seiji nods. I know. She's mature, experienced. If we're not careful, she'll drain us dry. Shigeru. That's not what I meant, but also yes. Seiji says they have to trust Seika to handle herself. He offers Shigeru another bowl of rice and notices something weird. Shigeru's blinking. It turns out he's jumping at full speed between 2 points, like Goku level teleport spam so he can be in 2 places at once. Seiji. Bro, I think I'm going blind. Everything's blurry. Shigeru says he's just tired and uses one of his abilities to knock him out. Why didn't he do that earlier? Good question. Meanwhile, Rhea doesn't bathe. Just sips water. She asks Seika if she thinks Seiji is hot. Seika says he's cool, strict but thoughtful, just like the rest of the crew. Rhea. Wow, your little squad sounds adorable. Wish I could join a group like that. Seika, being the cinnamon roll she is, invites her to join. But Rhea says it's impossible because of her special attributes. She pulls out her dagger and says she's gonna take Seika out for being beautiful. Seika, I don't even think I'm that pretty. Did I do something to you? Rhea? Nope, you're super nice. I'd give you 5 stars on Yelp, but my stats say I gotta eliminate every pretty girl I meet. It's automatic, demon mode activated. Seika, girl, why would you choose that? Rhea says beautiful women ruined her life. stole her boyfriend, mocked her. First world problems basically, so she vowed revenge in this new life. She's been hopping from party to party, taking out every pretty girl she meets. Now it's Sika's turn, then she'll go after Seiji. She raises her dagger for the final blow, but Rizu is already there, and with sniper level aim shoots the dagger right out of her hand. Rhea tries to grab her weapon, but Shigeru stops her. He draws his sword and says, "Sorry, but it's game over for you." And then Sika starts glowing. She's evolving. Hey, if you made it this far into the video, don't forget to type the word exquisite in the comments. Thanks a million and see you in the next video!